Hey everyone, welcome back. In my last story, I was talking about my first half year back in Golden, Colorado. I had a new partner in life, and we were having a great time together. We were living with our friends Chris and Julie in downtown Denver, doing a bunch of climbing. I'd taken my mountain guide course, and I was ready to get to work as a climbing guide at Devil's Tower. Nicole had to head out there first. She was out there for a couple of weeks. Her job as a hostess started a little bit before me, but eventually I was able to join her out there, and we got to spend the summer. I was working as a climbing guide, and it was just a really kind of a magical place to be for a summer for us as a newly married couple. And man, what a great gig! A total dream come true. Getting to take people climbing and get paid for it. Taking them up Devil's Tower. I'd always loved taking people climbing, and still do. It's one of my favorite things to do ever since I was about 16. Just taking people out and teaching them the whole rock climbing gig. So, but it was great to get paid for this. I got to put the skills that I had just learned in my mountain guide course directly to use, things like short roping. I had never known how to use these skills before, and this would come in handy later when I had my own little kiddos, taking them up into the mountains. But got to summit Devil's Tower a whole bunch of times. Nicole and I did a bunch of climbing. This formation is great for learning how to aid climb, place pitons, and crack climb. So I got to utilize these new skills a lot. I actually got to do the second ascent of Misty Morning Melody, which was kind of a technical aid climb on the west face. And I also got the chance to put up two new routes, which was super exciting. Of course, one of my dreams in life had always been to put up a first ascent, and I got the opportunity working at Devil's Tower to put up two big new lines. And I remember the first one that I did, there was this route called Abject Cathexis, and I got to the top of it, and the summit pitch had never been completed before. So and I was doing this as an aid solo, which was another skill that I learned there. And I remember topping out on this pitch, getting to the summit, and just being overwhelmed with with just what a gift this was for me, and just realizing that God was fulfilling his promise to me to to give me the desires of my heart. And it was just it felt so ridiculous because, I mean, what should he care that I get a first ascent? I mean, what a self-serving, totally pointless thing that I should be able to do. But it was very significant to me, and I realized that there had been things that I had been thinking about God, about who he was and his character, that were not lining up with who I was discovering that he was. Like, in my mind, growing up in a religious culture, he had always been like a very boring, sterile, faceless entity behind Christianity, and it did not seem at all adventurous, or that he could ever care about someone that wanted to live adventurously. But here I was discovering that he made me the way that I was, and he seemed to care that I enjoyed whatever climbing new terrain, as silly and ridiculous as that might be. So it was very significant to me, and special that I got to do that. And then I was able to recruit another guy that was kind of living out there, this guy Andrew, and he and I went and did this full new line. We called it Windex, and I got to put up this brand new line. It somehow had never been climbed. It was in this famous part of Devil's Tower called the Window, and it's this really iconic formation that you see, like, actually on the license plate for Wyoming. But on the right side of the window, that line had never been climbed. So once again, I was just very just thankful that I got to climb this. It was awesome. So I got this climb done kind of towards the end of the season. After that, Nicole and I took a little pit stop to Jackson, Wyoming, and I visited my old friend Justin again. And he and I did this great climb up this route called the Snaz in Death Canyon. And this would actually be the last time I was going to see Justin. This is very similar to my to my adventure with Steve, like how Steve and I had gotten to do like all this awesome climbing and kind of like an adventurous day before he died. Well, Justin and I also got to do this really fun adventurous climb, and it was a great kind of farewell to him, because a few months later I would find out that he would die in a ski mountaineering accident right there in Jackson. But apparently he and some buddies had been trying to drop this huge, like 100-foot cliff or something. But before he was able to scope out the landing zone for it, had triggered an avalanche. So he had to just point it and drop this 100-foot cliff with an avalanche pursuing him, and he landed wrong. So I mean, it was sad and tragic for me and for all of Justin's friends that he had to die so young. But I mean, what an incredible way to go. I mean, dropping a huge cliff, outrunning an avalanche. I mean, this was just symbolic of how he had lived his life. He had just really gone for it, and he loved God, and he just had passion in his heart. And I was always just very proud of him for the way that he just pursued his heart and pursued God, and kind of knew what he was going for. So in my mind, I can't imagine a better ending to this story. It's really beautiful, and I look forward to seeing him again someday. On the next video, I'll talk about our year back living in Colorado again. This was a jam-packed year, a lot of stuff happening, and I got to build a recording studio. I got to do a bunch of climbing with some super hardcore guys, and Nicole and I got this amazing job opportunity working at the South Pole in Antarctica. So I'll talk about those things on the next video. Thanks.